Hello my dear children, welcome back to another video in our channel. Today we are going to see a new poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. This is Gokul Parthasarathy, your English teacher. Let's go into the video. Welcome. Yes, a tiger in the zoo. I don't know how many of you have went to a zoo. I have. So my first attraction when I enter a zoo is to see a tiger or a lion. Who wouldn't be excited to see a tiger or lion in a zoo? Yes. Now we are going to see a tiger in a zoo. Yes. Now, have you ever thought how selfish we are as human beings? Just look at their eyes. Just look at their eyes. Just for your entertainment, just for your fulfillment, they have to get locked inside the bars. In what way is it fair? A big question mark, right? Do we have the right to restrict other creatures' freedom like this? Another big question mark. So for our excitement, for our happiness, do we have any right to restrict any other human being's freedom? Well, it's another big million-dollar question. We have all the answers to it through this poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. Theme of the poem. The theme of the poem is very simple. The poem contrasts a tiger in the zoo with a tiger in its natural habitat. Any tiger, just for instance, any tiger which is there in a zoo will be so free. Any tiger in a zoo, in its natural habitat, will be so free, like a king. Like a king. But if the same tiger is in a zoo, it will be like a slave. Okay, getting food at a correct time, anyone will throw it. It doesn't like it. Okay, now the poem contrasts a tiger in the zoo with a tiger in its natural habitat. First thing. The second thing is, the poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. Through this poem, Leslie Norris takes us from jungle to zoo, back to jungle, back to zoo. The reason being, the poet, he feels we are doing a great injustice to these tigers. He is not talking only about the tigers, my dear friends. He is talking about all the animals who are stuck inside a zoo. Now, Leslie Norris, he compares all the animals' features when they are in a jungle with the situation when they are stuck inside a zoo. Thirdly, the poet wants to depict the difference between the two environments. Now, as an environmentalist, as an animal lover, Leslie Norris, he just gives differentiation between two environments where tiger lives. One is its jungle, two, the place where it is stuck in the zoo. That is how the whole theme of the poem is circulated around. Now, speaking of the whole poem, just see how it gets stuck inside the bars. Is it fair? Is it fair? When we are in lockdown, we felt very bad for these animals because we couldn't bear the pain for being inside the house for just 8 to 9 months. But these animals, they have to stay inside the bars for their whole life. How is it fair? The whole poem has answers to this. Nextly, see how sorrow this tiger looks. Actually, the actual posture of a tiger will be so majestic. It will walk in the jungle like a king, as majestic as it could walk. But now when it is stuck in the zoo, it just shrinks out of agony, shrinks out of pain, that it can't move anywhere. It can't move freely. The basic human right any human being enjoys is freedom to move, freedom to go where he or she wishes. The same thing will go for animals as well. They doesn't like sitting in a place. They doesn't like getting stuck inside a bar. No. Let's get into the poem in a more serious note. The poem, look at the way it starts. He stalks in his vivid stripes. The poet says he stalks. Stalks means he just looks. Okay? It just waits for its prey. Waiting for its prey very keenly. In his vivid stripes. How many of you have seen a tiger? I have seen. The stripes in its body will be vivid, will be so dark. The few steps of his cage, he just walks few steps. It can't walk freely. It just walks few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet. Pads in the sense, the footpath. Okay? The paw. Instead, you can also call us the paw. The paw of a tiger. The poet mentions the paw of a tiger as pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Rage means anger. Rage means anger. So it is waiting with quiet, angry feel to come out of the cage anytime. Because it doesn't like being in the cage. The tiger never likes being in the cage. He should be lurking in shadows. Actually, the poet feels for the tiger. He says, the tiger should be lurking in the sense, freely moving. Or waiting. With freedom. Lurking in the shadows, sliding through long grass. So when a tiger moves in the forest, it just moves in the grass slowly and quietly, like lurking around near the water hole where plump deer pass. Plump in the sense the most tasty or favorite. The favorite dish for a tiger is always deer. Why does the tiger wait near a water pool? It's waiting for the arrival of the deer so that it can catch it and have it as its prey. Now the poet again moves on to give his explanation on a more serious note. He should be snarling around houses. When it moves inside the city, it will just snarl around houses. Snarl means it will just make others to get fear. It will make others to be afraid, make others fear. Make others fear or afraid. Around houses at the jungle's edge. Usually when tigers enter the village or a town near the jungle, everyone will be in shock, everyone will be feared, everyone will be afraid that a tiger has come inside their house or inside their village. Who wouldn't be? Bearing his white fangs, his claws. So when it comes, the tone, the aggression with which it comes, it will mesmerize, it will agonize its prey, terrorizing the village. Terrorizing means making others feel afraid. Making others feel afraid. Terrorizing the village, but actually the tiger should have terrorized the whole village. Rather, he is locked in a concrete cell. Concrete means alone, where there is no one. The tiger is locked inside a concrete cell, his strength behind bars. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. When suppose, if we consider this as the frame with which a tiger is locked, It just measures the length of the cage and it just moves around inside the cage itself. It is refusing to see the visitors. It is not pleased to please any visitors who are seeing him. No, I am not ready to see you. Am I a prey to you? You are a prey to me. Why should I please you? So it just ignores the visitors. Just ignores the visitors. Now, he hears the last voice at night. Now, when everything is said and done, when the dark surrounds the whole zoo, he hears the last voice at night. What is that last voice? The patrolling cars. What is the patrolling cars? Sound. A siren sound or like any sound. Patrolling means so he hears the patrolling cars and stares with his brilliant eyes. So when it sees the patrolling cars, it just stares at his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Okay? It just stares at the stars and thinks, when am I going to leave this place? When am I going to terrorize these people who are making me to stay here itself? This is how Leslie Norris has ended the poem. Very short and sweet poem, right? But it makes lots of questions arise. If we go to say any zoo, we get so excited. We get so outrageously happy that we are seeing a tiger or we are seeing a lion, but we fail to understand their pain because they too need freedom. If you leave them free, they will never ever try to even bother you. So the basic human right any human being deserves is freedom to move anywhere where it or he or she wants to move. So that is the basic freedom Leslie Norris wants for these tigers. Now, to make even things easier for you to understand, we have brought you a few explanations stanza-wise. First stanza. So let me read it for you. The tiger, a mighty creature, moves to and fro with his limited steps inside the cage. It just moves to and fro with his limited steps inside the cage. He moves quietly on his soft velvety pads. He just moves quietly on his soft velvety pads, that is called as paws, expressing his anger. Expressing his anger quietly because all his freedom is locked inside the cage. He is not happy that his freedom is locked inside the cage. He finds himself quite helpless there. He doesn't feel that he is getting any help. He feels that he is left helpless. Now, moving on to the second stanza, the poet says, the poet is moved to pity for the tiger. He says that zoo is not the place where he should be. Just look how this tiger roars. It doesn't want to be in the zoo. The actual habitat of this tiger is supposed to be a jungle. Now, rather, he should have been in the jungle, moving quietly in the shadows near some water sources and waiting for a healthy deer to pass that way. That healthy deer is marked as plump deer in the poem. So, he should be waiting inside or near or beside a water valley where a healthy deer will come so that it will make it as its prey. Look at how it majestically roars. When we move on to the third stanza, the poet further says the tiger should be moving around the houses at the corner of the jungle like this. See how the tiger moves, how majestically it walks. It should be moving around the corners of the jungle, terrorizing the villagers with his growl as well as by showing his bare teeth and claws. Look at how it moves around by terrorizing the whole village. This is what is expected from an actual tiger. It is not expected to be locked inside a cage. Now, moving on to the fourth stanza, the poet says, but sadly, in spite of all his strength, he is locked inside the cage to entertain the visitors. How pathetic the situation of a tiger has become. Very slowly and silently, he moves up and down along the restricted area of the cage. He just moves up and down inside the restricted area. He is no more interested in visitors as he feels quite powerless and weak. He is not interested with anything. He just feels that he has become so weak. He has become so frail that he is not even ready to receive any visitors. Moving on to the last stanza of the poem, the poet says, behind the bars of the zoo, he could only hear the sound of patrolling cars and stare at the brilliant stars. He could only hear the patrolling cars and stare at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes, recalling his days spent in the jungle. So when it looks at the patrolling cars, when it looks at the stars, it just recalls all those good old days when it used to be in the jungle like a king. Like this. How pathetically it recalls all those good old days. So Leslie Norris wants to thank you, all the readers, all the viewers of this poem, to at least have concern over these tigers or these animals in this jungle, at least henceforth. That is how the poem gets over. So I hope the poem is clear for you. If there is any queries or if there is any explanation required, feel free to ask it in the comment box. Do like, share and subscribe our channel. We'll meet you with another exciting content in the forthcoming days. See you. Stay home, stay safe. Take care.